Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the last regular town board meeting for the town of Waukesha in 2017, December 28th, beginning at 6:31 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Supervisor Fisher.
Here.
Supervisor Durr.
Here.
Supervisor Wolf.
Here.
Supervisor Radke.
Here.
Chairman Merrick.
Present. And Madam Clerk, have we met the opens meeting law?
Yes, we have.
And then we can begin with citizens' comments. Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? Then we can move on to meeting minutes of December 14th, 2017.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of December 14, 2017.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. On to reports, starting with Madam Clerk.
We have done our prelim audit on the 14th, and our tax bills went out the first week of December. We have one public records request from Angie Van Sock, requested all the non-compliance reports for 2017, 30-day notice, inspector notes, and the complaint. Also requested copies of complaints that were found to be in compliance. These are not noted on your non-compliance report and are not kept. They are placed in property files. In order for the office to do the research to look for these properties, it would be 98 boxes of property files to go through, with an estimated cost of $784, which was sent to Ms. Van Sock for payment. All the rest of the portion of her request has been completed. The electronic files that she requested has been sent. We're just waiting on payment. That's my report.
Just for my own edification, is it possible to collect some amount of payment prior to spending those funds?
We did not spend the funds yet. We did not go through the boxes that would cost that $784. Okay. So we sent everything that we could do with it not being that $50, hit that $50 threshold, and we sent her all that. But the rest of it would be $784, and we'd have to do the research.
And how long ago was that request?
Last month.
So in November.
I don't have the date. It
Fair
might
enough.
have been the beginning of December.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. On to DPW report. Supervisor Durr, do you have anything?
Nothing other than what's in your packet.
Thank you. And then fire department. Good evening, Chief Bookholz, just in time.
November run summaries: 28 ambulance requests, 8 motor vehicle accidents, 7 fire responses. Mutual aid was given 9 times and received mutual aid 13 times. 10 of those times were for paramedics with Vernon, part of our paramedic program. 3 members started in November. We're at 35 active members, 1 member on leave of absence, a secretary treasurer, and 2 high school cadets. Fire inspections for the second 6-month period of 2007 are nearing completion. They're probably done by now. And price quotes are coming in for the SCBA grant. Things got kind of slowed down here with the holidays, but that'll pick up again right after the first of the year.
Can you give us just a little bit of generalized information about the 3 new members? Are these people that found us, or people we sought out, or people that knew somebody on the fire department or something? Just a little bit of a sense of, I mean, that's good news. We got 3 new members, a little sense of how and where they came to be among us.
All 3 members came to us. One has been a paramedic for 12 years in other communities. She works at Freighter Hospital. One of the members that we just took on was on a fire department in Illinois. His dad's a fire chief in Illinois, or was a fire chief. He retired this year. And his brother's a firefighter in Illinois, and he moved up here because of his job. So he sought us out to get on a department. And the third member is relatively young. He's a year out of high school, and this is what he wants to make a career of. So.
These town residents, city residents, or do you know off the top of your head?
All three live in the city of Waukesha.
All three live in the city. Okay, thank you.
Excellent question, Supervisor Fisher. Thank you. Any other questions for the chief? I'm serious. On to the sheriff's department. Deputy Moose, if you have anything for us. Good evening.
Hello. So for November, we had a total of 48 calls for service in the town on second shift, 23 citations, 1 parking citation, and 6 ordinance citations were issued. For calls, we had several 911 hangups and assisting other agencies as far as requests for checking residences in the town. And 2 accidents, property damage, 2 injury accidents, and 3 other traffic offenses. Looks like 1 animal case and 3 frauds, a couple disorderly conducts, and then just a couple that incidents that would fall under other offenses.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for the deputy?
I have one question. You're kind of our main deputy in the town.
Correct.
We went through the exercise of posting our roads not too long ago. Have you, or do you recall of doing any overweight citations on any trucks?
On second shift, we don't.
Okay.
Scales close generally like shortly after I start.
Okay.
That would be something to look at requesting for day shift, which at one point I know we had put in a patrol, especially for Center Road here or Center
Okay.
for the overweight trucks that come down during the day.
Okay, thank you.
You know, that's an excellent question, Supervisor. So, but just out of curiosity, let's say we knew that the truck was obviously overloaded, semi driving down a street that was marked, no more than 3 tons. Could you guys detain that truck until morning when a scale opens? I'm just curious.
No.
Okay.
I don't think that's, I mean, at that point, you could see if State Patrol would be available to do one of their inspections, which is a full inspection of the truck, which I really don't even know what that would entail from them. But that would only be if they were available. You could keep them at that point. You can issue a citation for a failure to obey official sign, but that's nothing more than your average $98 speeding ticket. So.
Sure. Okay. Any other questions?
So if we're sitting here and Center Road is posted no trucking,
Mhm.
and you see a semi go through, which I've seen many times, the most you could do, if anything, is just pull them over and give them a citation?
If
for-
we don't have a scale available, yes.
But if you know that the truck is already well over
Mhm.
3 tons, but you still have to.
How
weigh
can
it.
I prove? I can't prove how much the truck weighs, though.
Sure
You
you
have
can.
to.
Semi.
You have
Sure
to
you
have
can.
scale.
The GVWR will tell you.
It has
what
to be
it's-
exact weight with the driver.
Thank you.
Thank you. And from my perspective, thank you. I can't imagine how difficult it is to do your job in the bitter cold that we've had in recent past.
We try to stay warm as best we can.
Thank you. On to new business. Discussion and possible action on Justin Rolfson. Request for an extension on a non-compliance property at South 46, West 25, 275 Meadowview Court East. Madam Clerk?
The property owner is not here because he is now in compliance. We put it on just in case he wasn't in compliance by the state, but he is now in compliance.
Excellent. Thank you. On to B, discussion of possible action of Angus Young contract for the fire department addition. This was held over from 2 weeks ago.
Mr. Chairman, I will move to approve the contract with Angus Young Associates Incorporated of Janesville, dated December 13th, 2017, for the fire department addition. The contract being in the amount of $68,500 for basic services and $3,100 for reimbursable expenses.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Just a question, Supervisor Fisher. I know you looked through it. Thank you for that. I am lost in some of it. I assume the few things that we chatted about being some of the language on it being sufficient is now up to snuff.
I think so. Recollection, a couple of concerns that I had when we looked at this the last time. What we actually had was a letter of intent. Really wasn't a contract. In letter form, it suggested that, I think if the letter of intent were approved, that it would be converted to an abbreviated form of a standard form of agreement between owner and architect. This is an American Institute of Architects agreement. I suggested that the project isn't, I mean, they're all relative terms. It's not real large, it's not real small, but that we have the full-size document. It's lengthy. I think it's good because I think it provides the kind of protections the town needs. They also, in that letter of intent, indicated that they would, if we consented to that, their cap for any exposure for professional liability would be limited to the amount of the fee. So it was $68,500 limited to that. That provision is not in here, and I think if you look a couple pages into it, they actually even represent the limits of insurance coverage they have. I think they have $1 million for professional liability insurance. I think that's appropriate. The other thing that I thought it was to have defined is the number of site visits that they would make during construction. And I think if you dig into that, I think they've represented that, I believe, to be 15, which was probably bi-weekly, twice a month thereabouts. And I think they are suggesting in this that they're looking at April through October. They're about 6 to 7 months of construction. I think that's a suitable number. So those are a couple of things I was concerned about that are now cleaned up or defined in this agreement.
Madam Clerk, has, while I understand this is standard AIA contract, there's several additions and changes to it. Has it been reviewed by council?
It hasn't at this point. It has not at this point. If the board chooses to move forward, you can move forward with the understanding that the that Attorney Macy would review it.
Chairman Merrick, the only thought that I had, and I just shared that briefly with Kathy in a conversation, if you go back and I can find the page number, most of this is plugging into standard language. There is, I'll see if I can find it, there's a provision in here for dispute resolution. It's actually on page 15, okay? If you look at near the top of the page, it's section 6.2.4. I think the essence of it basically says any disputes between Angus Young and the town of Waukesha first would be attempted to be resolved through mediation. And then it basically provides a choice for binding dispute resolution and either to choose from arbitration or litigation. They've got a box to check there for other. They have checked in this Angus Young or proposed litigation in lieu of arbitration for means of dispute resolution. I thought that's something you might want to simply pass by Attorney Macy. I don't really have a strong feeling or thought about it, but that is an elective choice in the agreement.
And just for clarification, you said page 15 and I think 8.2.4. I thought you said 6.2.4. And if you didn't, I apologize.
I may have, it is
Fair
8.2.4.
enough.
If I did, I misspoke, but it's toward the top of page 15 there. So you see they got a red box in there. So that's a choice that the parties are supposed to make.
I want to start off the discussion, or I'd like to start off the discussion by saying I'm not going to support this at this moment for several different reasons, and that is direction of fire departments. We've had conversations with the county regarding potential countywide fire departments, maybe regional fire departments, and I don't know what the goal of that is yet. I don't know what the ramifications of that is going to be for the town of Waukesha and surrounding communities. And I would like to find out and listen to some input from the county and other departments prior to spending $1 million and change of the town of Waukesha taxpayers' money. So at this moment, I would not be in support of it.
I think we need to have a clear understanding of where the department is going over the next 10 or 12 years. Through last year, we committed and spent $12,000 or $13,000 with Angus Young to help us understand the needs for the overall campus environment. For that amount of money, I think that was an appropriate expenditure at the time. But at least in my mind, without a clear understanding of where the department is going over the next 10 or 12 years, I don't know that I can take the next step to spend essentially $70,000 to further commit us to between probably $1 million or $1.2 million to take this step. So that's my position.
The only comment that I guess that I would make to that, and I respect your positions or point of view, Chairman Merrick and Supervisor Durr, but we discussed this at great length. We proposed this as part of the capital budget for 2018. I believe that had unanimous support of the board. And I think when I open up my tax bill, the first part of the letter from the town board on there basically said we're doing a fire department, I'm paraphrasing a bit, doing a fire department edition in 2018. I guess I'm a little bit surprised to see at this point in time that we would be having second thoughts about that, given what has transpired in the past 2 months.
I don't know from my perspective if it's a second thought rather than more investigation, more information. It's a substantial amount of money. I want to make sure that it's being spent in the right way. I think it's appropriate to have forward-looking budget proposals to encompass things that we may or may not spend in the future. We've got capital projects that we haven't done in the past that we have accounted for, but we've got to account for those things. And I think it's appropriate to do so. Supervisor Wolf.
Yeah, my feeling goes to Supervisor Doors also, as far as what's going to be going on. Our location isn't ideal for the town to begin with, and I agree we needed to do the original one just to see how things are going to lay out and what was going to happen. But this is the first time I've heard about any county thing, so I would need more information on that before I'd be able to decide on this.
Supervisor Radke.
If I'm understanding this right, this is the agreement between the town and the architect. It's not saying that we're necessarily going 100% with this. This is the agreement that we've got the architect to go forward with them as to where the plans are from there. It's not saying that we're building an addition for the fire department, or we're building an addition to the town. It's merely engaging the architect to continue what they've started. Am I misinterpreting that?
No, I think you're correct.
Okay. So we've gone this far to the dance with the architect, and now we're saying, let's just stop and resume sometime in the future?
Again, from my perspective, gathering, more information gathering. Yes, you're correct. It is an engagement of the architect, but that you're talking about $70,000.
Agreed.
And I would like a clearer understanding of direction prior to spending $70,000.
The question, I guess, if the motion does not pass and the contract is not approved, is it then reasonable? It would appear to me as though we would not be constructing in addition to the fire department in 2018. Is that a reasonable conclusion?
I think that'd be speculation at this moment.
Well, I guess then I'll back up another way. How long do you think, I mean, when we talked about this back in, starting even in July, and I didn't hear any dissenting voices from the board, we, I think, agreed this needed to be built on paper in the fall of 2017. I mean, we're 3 or 4 days away from the end of the year here, because we had talked about putting this to public bid very early in 2018. Obviously, that's not going to happen. I think if you look at their contract, they are even, assuming this were to be passed, talking about construction, I believe, beginning in April, which is probably even overly optimistic. I guess I'll flip it back to you with a question. Respecting your position that you want to look and consider things further, what amount of time do you or any of the other supervisors think you need in order to decide whether you want to move forward or not? Is this a matter of weeks or months, or what do you think you need time-wise to do whatever investigation you need to do?
Me personally, if that question was directed in this direction.
Well, to anybody who would want to answer it, sure.
Sure. So the county has I don't think we can call it a committee, a task force, whatever. They're investigating countywide cooperation for fire departments. I'd like to know where they're heading.
Okay, do you have any kind of an idea what that might be time-wise? I mean, I'm circling back to my original question, and maybe this will pass, but assuming the motion is defeated, I think it's a virtual certainty that we're not going to be constructing a fire department addition in 2018. So I guess I circle back to that, and if you think that isn't so, say so.
I can't speak intelligently to that, obviously. But back to your original question, I don't have an answer for a timeline because I don't have an answer for when the county is going to move forward with their studies. I know they're looking at it. They started with Lakeland fire departments, and I think they want to expand that to the county.
Well, I guess I'm somewhat surprised too that at the 11th hour, we're saying we're not necessarily supporting this. Personally, I feel that the entire board's got to support it. If not, then I can't push it forward. I'm disappointed that we went this far down the road and spent the money and the time that we did, and now find out that it may not be the right thing.
I'm not disappointed we spent the money and time that we did because I think it's a very good exercise to find out where we could be going. I think there's more information and more direction, more investigation required. I'm not disappointed with it at all.
I guess my disappointment or frustration is, I don't have a copy of it right here, but 133 people, including children, but I mean, 3,000 tax bills or something thereabouts went out in the town of Waukesha, and we put a newsletter thing in there. The first paragraph says, Fire Station Edition in 2018. I'm paraphrasing a bit. Why did we put that? Why did we put that out? And it's Merry Christmas Town Board. Your Fire Station Edition is coming in 2018. I mean, I think somehow or other the board, if we don't get behind this, has got a whole lot of humble pie to eat. I mean, why would we put that out, John?
Well, again, I don't have it in front of me either. What do you, let's look at it.
I mean, I respect, for those of you who do not want to move forward, I respect your opinions, but I do not respect your untimeliness. It's that simple.
Fair enough. And I am not saying I don't want to move forward. I'm saying I want more investigation. It's a lot of money. So I'll just read what's in the first paragraph. In addition, for the fire department was approved in 2018 capital projects. The addition includes sleeping quarters, which will help with recruitment of fire and EMT personnel, and this will reduce response times. Salt storage building for our DPW was also approved. These projects are being financed through the current capital funds, and no tax levy, no borrowing will be done. The capital projects, yes, we approve that through the capital budget. But the town board still has a vote on actually completing those projects.
And what does it say at the bottom of it? Doesn't it say something from the town board?
It has been our honor to serve you this past year.
Doesn't it say the town
That's at the
board?
very bottom.
I know. Doesn't it say the town board?
Well, yeah, here. nor
Right,
there.
let me just finish up and then you can speak to it. I mean, I think most lay people who would read that would conclude that that ship is about to sail. I don't know how they could read it any other way,
And it
if
may
it
well.
hasn't already.
And it may well. I'm looking for some more information. I want clear direction prior to spending $1 million in change. And that's appropriate.
I told you I respect your opinion, but then that type of stuff should never be put into a letter that goes out to every taxpayer at the end of the year. And that should not have been something this entire board got behind when we approved a capital budget. I'm not here to argue, but that's my point of view. I think that's really, really hard to explain to people. We've got a lot of inconsistencies on this board. I think this is one of the really big ones. And I've said my piece.
Thank you. I don't necessarily disagree with you that there may be some inconsistencies. However, at some point, as you're preparing to spend a great deal of other people's money, from my perspective, it's appropriate to review and rethink what you're spending, gather more information prior to writing that check. That's just where I'm at.
Call the question if there's no further discussion. And I'd ask for a roll call vote, please.
Anything further? Madam Clerk, a roll call vote?
Supervisor Fisher,
Aye.
Supervisor Durr,
Opposed?
Chairman Merrick,
Opposed?
Supervisor Radke,
Opposed.
and Supervisor Wolf.
Motion fails. On to C, the 2018 holiday schedule. Madam Clerk.
Now, the last couple of years, I haven't brought this schedule to you, to the board. But after speaking to a few of my friendly clerks, they say they bring it to the board. If you feel that this can stay as just an administrative function and not come to the board, I can continue doing that. But I did want to bring it to you for your decision on if this should come to you every year or not.
The question, I guess, it says holiday schedule. Does this mean the days that the
Office is
town
closed.
hall office is closed? Is that what the meaning of this is?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, perhaps I'm thick. What is spring holiday, March 29?
It's Good Friday.
Thank you.
In my opinion, I don't think this needs to go before the board.
I would agree with that. Not only that, if it is going to be a board action and it's going to be specific to when the town hall is open for business, I think trick or treating should be omitted.
That's true. Yeah, we'll be open for trick or treating.
Well, but you wouldn't typically,
That's true.
you wouldn't typically be open from 5 to 7 anyway.
True. Very true.
I don't see any reason that this needs to come to the board. If it hasn't in the past, then it hasn't been a problem.
I'm good.
Okay,
I'm good also.
okay. Thank you.
On to accounts payable in the amount of $5,195.82 for Rupert and Milky. Is there a motion?
Move to pay that amount?
In a second.
I'll second.
Chairman Merrick,
Aye.
Supervisor Durr,
Aye.
Supervisor Racky,
Aye.
Supervisor Wolf,
Aye.
and Supervisor Fisher.
Abstain.
Motion carries. On to the balance of the bills in the amount of $35,756.32. Is there a motion?
Move to pay that amount?
In a second.
Second.
Sorry.
Chairman Merrick,
Aye.
Supervisor Durr,
Aye.
Supervisor Fisher,
Aye.
Supervisor Racky,
Aye.
Supervisor Wolf.
Aye.
Motion carries. On to 9, allowance closed session. You're hereby notified that the town of board of the town of Waukesha will convene in May upon duly motion made and seconded and acted upon by roll call vote as required in Wisconsin Stats 1985 sub 1 sub E. Going to closed session during the course of the meeting. Town board members may attend the closed session. The purpose of the closed session will be as follows: to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which a governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility as authorized under 1985 sub 1 sub C, specifically to review employee evaluations. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
And a second.
Second.
And Madam Clerk, a roll call vote?
Supervisor Wolf,
Aye.
Supervisor Racky,
Aye.
Supervisor Fisher,
Aye.
Supervisor Durr,
Aye.
and Chairman Merrick.
Aye. We are in closed session. We'll be out as quickly as possible.
$1 million is in the budget for 2017. It's in the capital plan.
almost getting 2018 back into it. So what are we supposed to do? I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I'm out of the options. I don't know what to do. And this crap with the county is a bunch of BS. It's something the county exec's trying to pull, and it's not working. One of the departments that initiated the whole thing pulled out of it. They're not even interested. You know, it's just, it's crazy. And I said, now he's not the full board. The plan commission scheduled that land out there for mixed commercial. Now we have to go there. And you want to see another condo project. We're going to see something good, and we're going to 20 feet of it. And half of it, just like you did up on that video. There's no water supply, no source for it. And this company started, that we don't need this company. They've already been working on it for 3 years. It started in 2016. And then that nothing. Really? Absolutely nothing. And they hired a company, a consulting company, that's never done a survey. So that's impressive. I think fire department counts as. Because the fire department. And they're the jerk around. They can make a decision. But you know what he's doing? He says that his board can make a decision, give him a hard, and send him off to do something. He comes back with what they asked for, and they don't like it. One wants it different. I didn't get a report. You just came back and told him, so I got a report to be given.
Have a good evening. Have a happy new year, but I'll see you.
No.
were there too long.
Yeah, great.
We still on camera?
Yes.
Excellent. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Good evening, everybody. Have a happy new year.